heart of South Philly. Let's go see what the people have got to say. I'm ready to roll big evening.
Now listen here, Dutch. Mets and the Cowboys, they suck.
1, 2, 3, go Birds! Go Birds! What we got? 302 Birds, Stinks. Go Birds!
Get your water ice and soft pretzels ready because you are now tuned into a 302 Birds podcast experience. Proudly presented by TickPick, Nick's Pizza, El Diablo Burritos, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street. Let's take it to the show.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Or if you are listening to this on a Thursday, happy Thursday or Friday or any day of the week, I should really say. But welcome to another episode of 302 Birds, a bittersweet episode. We say goodbye to Eagles legend Brandon Graham. We say hello to hopeful future Eagles legend Azeez Ojulari, coming from the Giants. Going to be a great edge defender. Former Bulldog, getting some more Bulldog blood in the house. Going to do a quick Flyers update, a Sixers update, some March Madness predictions. I actually got to get Mikey D the link. If you want, KJ, you can. Or we can do, I say we do a more in-depth prediction with him probably on Sunday because we got a couple guests tonight, if that's cool. Yeah, if Saturday. Mike's cool with that. I know I promised him, but
Saturday. Yeah, we already talked about Saturday. I talked to him about it.
Cool. Sipping Sports it is then. But we'll do a little brief one on here. We're going to talk some smack because I know KJ and Jack are in on the tournament. Mikey D's March Madness fun. We're going to do a Malaki Starks preview. We're going to talk about who's next for the free agency. And then, as I said earlier, BG and Azeez. But before all of that, before all of our official call, we do have an official call and a live call in too. I want to get to a very exciting interview we're actually going to do live on the show tonight for you guys. I had an opportunity to interview WWE legend, Eagles fan Lince Dorado. And man, he was awesome, super polite, genuine, and about as Philly as they come. So I just want to show you guys this interview and enjoy. It was awesome. What's going on, 302 Birds Nation? Welcome to a very special edition of the call-in. Today, we have a WWE Superstar Lucha Libre legend, Lince Dorado, fellow Eagles fan. How you doing, sir?
What's up, everybody? It's the 2010-2011 Mr. Puss in Boots, Lucha Lince Dorado, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited that the Birds won the Super Bowl this year. Let's go!
I love it, man. Well, thank you for being here. This is, honestly, I got to say, you're the most high-profile guest we've ever had, so you have the honor of that on the podcast. We appreciate you for coming here, gracing us with your time, but I'm not going to waste any more of it. Let's get right into the questions. So the first question I got for you, I know we talked about it a little bit before the show, being from Camden. How much of that was an influence on your Eagles fandom, and how much of it was just, I know obviously the Eagles, high flying, there's some similarities there. What really made you buy into this fandom?
I mean, I've been an Eagles fan since day one. I remember back when Michael Vick, McNabb, I would be in Oreos in my basement watching games. Even when we had terrible seasons, I didn't care. And, coming from Camden, right over the bridge from Philadelphia, you just had to be a diehard Eagles fan. And also being from South Jersey, people don't understand. Being from Jersey, you have two options. You're either a Giants fan if you're from North Jersey, or you're an Eagles fan if you're from South Jersey. But honestly, there's only one team, and that's the Eagles right there, baby. It helped me out when I was younger, staying out of trouble, because I would always be looking forward, especially to the fall and the winter time, for Eagles games to, stay out of the hood, stay out of doing things that I shouldn't be doing. But 30 plus years later, I'm still rocking the Eagles. I'm still that guy that will travel everywhere across the world, especially to the Dallas airport, rocking the Eagles jerseys. I don't care what time of the year. You already know, if you're an Eagles fan, everybody knows that you're an Eagles fan. So that's what I'm bringing.
Well, I want to go back to something you said. I love Camden. We talked about a little bit before the show. My grandma being from Camden, laying cement. People from Camden understand what a work ethic is. Hassan Reddick was somebody that was on this team a little bit ago. Mm-hmm. I liked him. I was a little bit upset when he left. But going back, I mean, obviously that 2022 season that he had was insane. Can you speak to that about just being an athlete from this area and, like, especially specifically Camden? Because I think Camden a lot of times is forgotten about when you think about Philly, and you're right, it's right over the bridge.
Yeah, I feel like people from Camden, you have like two options. One, you stay in Camden and, there's really no leaving it. My family is a product of that. I'm a product of that. And, we're always given the poop end of the stick, I guess you want to say, to be polite. And we're not always given a lot of chances. So the chances that we are given, or the chances that we take on ourselves, prove that we are, relentless survivors. We work very hard for not only ourselves, but our family, the people that depend on us. And, for me, that's important that I carry that every day, whether it's through work or, parenting. And I just make sure that, my family knows that I come from that product, and I obviously don't want them to go and live the way that I lived growing up. So that's why, obviously I moved, but I don't ever, not forget what I learned from I guess you would say the hood or Camden itself. But, ultimately I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't experience that or live like that. So super grateful, super grateful for the opportunities and the person that it's made me today.
And your hard work, I think, is a testament. Obviously, being from Camden, more than anybody, Camden always gets a bad rap, but I think that there's a lot of good that comes out of Camden too, that gets overshadowed by the bad, and that's not fair. But I think you're a testament of hard work and showing that it pays off. I mean, being at the highest level, man, the WWE, you've achieved a lot, and that's kind of where my follow-up question is. You've wrestled for a lot of great companies in your career. Which fans would you say are the best or the loudest, in your opinion?
You ask any wrestling wrestler around the world who's ever been either in WWE, AEW, any of the companies, or even on the independent scene, they'll tell you right now, if you want to make it, it used to be New York, but now it's Philadelphia. If you can make it in Philadelphia, where I started originally, then you can make it anywhere. Philadelphia, man, there's something about the fans, the city, the expectation that the people demand from any form of entertainment or sports league or sports team. And, you got to be kind of crazy in order to take a booking or to play against any Philadelphia team, because we're the team that booed Santa, so yeah, no one is safe.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone who wants to get in the wrestling scene locally, what would it be? And where would you say is a good place to start?
Sure. I mean, we'll answer the second question. That's probably the easiest. Where's a good place to start learning how to wrestle in Philadelphia? You have two really, really good options, honestly, in my opinion. One, you have the original Monster Factory in Paulsboro, New Jersey, right over the bridge as well. This place has, cultivated superstar after superstar after superstar who's who in professional wrestling, all the way from the 80s up to, current day. And then you have another place called Catch Point Wrestling, which is owned by a former WWE wrestler and / trainer. So he kind of it's kind of a cheat code, where you can just go and learn the style of, WWE and the style of professional wrestling in general. But the biggest advice I would definitely have would be two things. One, stop comparing. Right? Your lifestyle and trajectory is going to be totally different than somebody else's. So don't compare. And then number two, be relentless. The answer is always going to be no, unless you do what it's supposed to do in order to get the results that you want. Just you know, you're never going to tell me no. I'm going to fail on my own. I'm not going to fail because somebody else failed and, you know, projected that on me. That's just not going to happen.
I love that. That's so Philly. And Albert Einstein has a quote. I'm dyslexic as hell, so like I can't even read, bro. No, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, he says, I failed my way to success. And that quote is such a great point about like when you fail, you're not really failing if you're learning and if you keep going. And I definitely think you show that. And coming back to the WWE after 4 years, can you explain what that was like? How did that feel, man?
Yeah, I mean, I should have been here 2 years ago. I actually was in talk with them to come back 2 years ago without giving too much information. I am back now as of February, or technically January, but February we'll say was started as both a wrestler and a trainer. They've given and entrusted me to train the next superstars of tomorrow at the highest point, WWE. So I'm very fortunate that I found my calling because, you know, I used to be a math teacher myself. So teaching's always been in my blood. So now teaching, obviously I like math, but obviously teaching something that I love, wrestling, pro wrestling, kind of helps me find my calling rather than just like, oh man, I just want to wrestle forever. Right? Well, some people want to wrestle forever, and don't get me wrong, I do, but realistically, and I'm a realistic person, like my body's not going to allow me to, so I need a different avenue. So that's why I always try to better myself or find a skill in wrestling that's going to keep me in wrestling, whether it's making gear or outfits, making masks, training people, consulting.
What really brought me to you was that Eagles mask. That thing is by far the best Eagles mask I've ever seen. It definitely tops Jason Kelsey's. Did you make that yourself? And would you be able to show us and tell us a little bit about it?
I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a fire mask. And I'm actually waiting for one of the Super Bowl logos so I could actually put it like a patch. I actually got a patch ordered because I was going to make one, but I was like, man, an official patch would be sick. So yeah, I made one. I like using sequins. As you can see, it does stand out a little bit more. I think a lot of people think like, oh, it's more expensive, but it's just like fancier. I like the way it looks. So I took my mask, which is this one here, and I didn't want to necessarily just make it green, white, and black. I wanted to add some Eagles influence. So on one side, as you can see, I put the logo, and this is all sewn. Boom, there we go.
That is gorgeous.
You know, it's all sewn.
Your creativity, man, is unmatched.
That's real leather. The silver that I used, real leather that I bought in California about a year ago, that was just sitting in my thing. And I was like, man, I need to know what I want. And then on the other side, I did something a little bit different, a little bit like more obscure, because I did the whole mask and then I put this face plate here, which I thought was pretty cool. So like, kind of looks like that, even with the eyes being covered. It looks really cool. Got my little tag there, my logo. Everything that I make always has my logo on there. And then yeah, I've had many people ask about it. I have many people like offer me stuff, but that mask is not leaving my collection, man. I really enjoy it. And it's the mask that I made during their Super Bowl run.
It's about as genuine as they come right there. I mean, meeting Lince Dorado was a pleasure. That interview, I'm going to try to crop it down. I only had a little bit of time today after work, so I apologize. That was only 10 minutes of it. It's going to be about, I would say, 14 to maybe 16 minutes when all is said and done. But he spent, I would say, a good 25 minutes hanging out with me today, just answering some questions about what it was like being a WWE wrestler, what it was like being an Eagles fan, what it was like being from Camden. I mean, we had a variety of conversations. So I really appreciate him showing up and showing out, because that was a ton of fun. And he did say, if we ever need some tickets, maybe let him know, and we can go there and support. I said, my buddy KJ gets pretty loud, so stay tuned for that, because that would be pretty funny. And yes, Givens, it was a WWE wrestler. He was out of the WWE for about 4 years, and he came back. That'll be included in the interview too. So it's honestly a great one. But before we get into our call-in, I actually want to just go ahead and do the Phillies first because our call-in isn't here yet. So we're going to go ahead and do without Ballpark Tommy yet again. We got Ballpark Shardy. Sorry, Tom.
Time for Phillies talk with Ballpark Tommy. Finger stitch.
At this point, we should just put you on the intro, man.
Yeah, call him Ballpark Shardy. Yeah.
Hey, we can't take Tommy's pride and joy away from him, okay?
He's got to show
It's
up.
not-
Though. He's not showing up. He's
But
ditching
look,
us.
it's not our fault that he's, he chose the life of taxes, okay?
True.
Yeah.
He chose the life
True.
of
It's
taxes.
a depressing life, man. It's a depressing life.
Hey, man,
Well,
makes money, pays the bills.
It does.
I'm praying for Ballpark, just like we're praying for the Phillies, getting ready for this season. Shard, how are you feeling?
I'm honestly, and we got Gavin here too.
Kevin?
He's
Hello.
watched more than me recently, but the season's already over and it hasn't even started. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm not gonna take that much time. It's spring training, so I mean, take it, as I've been saying the past couple weeks, take it with a grain of salt. But just like the offense has really been waking up. I mean, we've been scoring runs a lot recently. Other than today, I mean, just seems like we're cursed against the Yankees anytime we play them. But like, offense is waking up. Their batting averages are looking great. And Gavin, you can touch more on that because you know more than I do on that right now. But the only thing I really want to touch on is pitching. It was reported today that unfortunately Ranger Suarez has back tightness again. Rob Thompson said that it's not as bad as last year, but the next 24 to 48 hours is really going to be important for seeing how bad his back soreness, back tightness is, because if it's, similar to last year, he'll be out for a while. And unfortunately, that means that Taijuan Walker is going to somehow sneak his way into the starting rotation. And if he does, it's just like, I can't deal with Taijuan in the starting rotation. He went out today for, I think it was about 3.1, 3.2 innings pitched, let up 6 earned runs, 3 home runs. Just absolutely, absolutely terrible. There's no reason why he should be anywhere near the mound, anywhere near the starting rotation, because realistically, I mean, there's flashes of him showing, how he was a few years ago where he was really dominant, but really, realistically, it just looks like he's not done much this offseason to improve. It's kind of right back where we are. And I feel like, honestly, we're going to have the same problem we had at the start of last year, and really all of last year, where we didn't know who our 5th starter was. Because, you remember we went to the game last year and we saw Walker pitch, and he was terrible. It was that Cardinals game, because we started that chant that we wanted Turnbull. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I can't sit through watching Taijuan Walker if this is how he's going to be. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I have. I mean, the regular season technically started. I know we kind of talked about it in the group chat earlier. For whatever reason, they decided to do the Tokyo series like 2.5 weeks before the regular season, which is
no sense.
Weird. Personally, if I'm the MLB, I mean, I would do the Tokyo series like 3 days before opening day, and then just give the Dodgers and the Cubs a few days rest. But just weird that they did it 2 weeks early.
So does it count for their actual record as well?
Yeah, it counts for their actual record. So the Dodgers are 2-0 right now. MLB on Fox, if you follow them on Twitter, they're glazing the hell out of the Dodgers. The Dodgers are going to go undefeated this season.
Did you see the Shohei home run?
I saw all the home runs, and honestly, with Shohei, let me remind you that Matt Strom owns that fucker.
Well, did you see it was fan interference? It was fan interference. They called it a home run
Guess
still.
Who the fan was? Guess who the fan was? Wait, what for Shohei's or for
For
Max?
the Max Muncy was the former Eagles, and then Shohei,
Yeah.
a fan touched the ball, and they called it a home run. Still, like it was really obvious it was not a home run.
Shohei Ohtani is the Patrick Mahomes of the MLB.
Yeah.
Okay.
Accurate.
You can't touch that dude with a 10-foot pole without the MLB coming after you, because I guarantee that
Yeah,
whole
that's
betting
crazy.
thing, I guarantee Shohei somehow knew about it. There's no you're telling me he didn't know anything about it? I'm not gonna get into that, but there's no fucking
Yeah.
way. But Gavin, you have anything you want to add, like offensively, batting wise?
With batting, I mean, we've like you said, we've scored many runs over the past couple games. Harper looks amazing. He's batting over 300. I'm pretty sure it's close to 400. So he looks well. Stott looks amazing. He's been a demon this spring. His batting average is pretty high. I'm pretty sure he's walked more than he struck out, which is a great sign from him. Bohm, he's doing okay. He's doing, I guess, decent. Casty. Cassie's Cassie, I guess. He's doing pretty well, I would say, except that he thinks when he hits a home run, he does his little pimp walk, and it's not a home run. He needs to stop that. But with Taiwan Walker, we've been saying it for years, dude. He needs to go. It just eat up the salary. There's no point. I'm done doing this whole like, oh, Taiwan Walker's gonna pitch today. Oh, 7 runs. Oh, now we're not gonna hit by the 6th inning. I'm not doing it. So cut Taiwan Walker. The only thing that we can hope with hitting is keep the chase rate low. Don't chase. And just stay consistent because our lineup is streaky. So hopefully when we can get hot, we stay hot for a while.
Yeah, I don't see what Dombrowski sees in Taiwan Walker. I really don't. It's frustrating, to be honest, because obviously he's back on this roster, and it's got a lot of us just frustrated because we didn't make too many moves this offseason, especially in the bullpen. So I think it's just really frustrating to see a guy like Taiwan Walker, obviously in spring training, a place where you should obviously dominate in, because you are told you pretty much are known as like a decent pitcher. Well, this is beforehand when we got him. And then you just stink up the bed with the fills, and you're just not fitting in here at all. And you're honestly pitching like a little leaguer. I mean, that's how you're pitching right now. And it's sad the guy didn't do anything in the offseason. I mean, he heard all the noise. There's no way you didn't. I mean, like there were people with megaphones like saying how much it sucked, and you still don't improve. I mean, like, how's this guy even still in the MLB? I mean, send him to like an island or something like that where he can just play baseball all the time because this guy sucks.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think really this is kind of where I'll end this because I don't want to take up too much time. I know you guys got other stuff. I really think what it is with his contract is it's a heavy contract, and kind of comparing it to the NFL. When you do trade, some teams they do decide to pay part of the contract in order to take in that player. And I think that's kind of where we're at with Taiwan is unfortunately they can't really trade him. He sucks. So no team's really going to want to pick him up.
Yep.
And no team's really going to want to pay that contract. So I feel like John Middleton and Dave Dombrowski are at the point where it's like, oh, well, we're paying this guy X amount of dollars. We have to play him. And it's unfortunate because, like we said last year with Dave Dombrowski, he said he wanted his trophy back. And realistically, or not Dombrowski, John Middleton, sorry. But anyway, John said he wanted his trophy back. And realistically, what did you do to show the fans that? What did you do to show the fans that you want your trophy back? Because you really didn't spend any money. You're sitting on a pile of money that you really haven't spent. And I know I said that these minor league guys might be able to come up, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. But regular season starts the 27th, so we're getting close.
Yeah. I think like 8 more days, right? At least
Yeah,
8.
next Thursday. So
Jeez.
we're getting close. Phillies post-game show is about to make a return. So get ready for that. We'll be hitting it hard. Only thing is, and Dalt, I'll text you. my kid's got a baseball game next Thursday, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, that's understandable, man.
Yeah.
That's got to come first.
We'll see what happens.
The next Phillies, so you got to get them ready, right?
Yeah, man. But we'll see what happens. So mark your calendar, next Thursday we make a return, and go Phils, I guess. I'm not really excited, but whatever.
When they start going, you'll get back on the hype train. I can feel it. Well, Gav, I appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you guys very much.
Man. Of course.
Have a good night, fellas.
Before I leave, Casty keeps his streak of iconic home runs alive. But on that note, go Phils.
Go Phils.
Go Phils. See you, Gav. But getting into our next segment now, I'll bring the man, the myth, the legend back on stage. Thanks to El Diablo.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking you how your day is, but their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world, one of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo burritos and tell them that 302 Birds sent you. God bless. Go Birds. Thank you to El Diablo Burritos for this sponsorship. Tonight we have the Sheffield Shuffler. How you doing tonight, buddy?
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Have you ever had a "the" put in front of your name before?
Yeah.
I have, yes.
Hey, well, welcome to the show. I don't know if you met our guy Jack yet. He's also on the podcast. I know you, me, KJ, we all met at a tailgate. But man, I want to just say real quick, if you guys aren't doing anything for opening day, tell people maybe where they should go to, Sheffield.
Lot N, dude. We're having a huge party with No Fly Zone. We're going to get out there early, 10, 11 o'clock, and just have a huge party before we go into Citizens Bank Park and watch the Phillies take on the Rockies and get their first win at home.
I'm excited for it, man. And to help you out, it's code Chef.
Yeah, Sheffield. Yeah, it's on No Fly Zone's Instagram. They should have it. It's on like their Eventbrite or something. But if you use code Sheffield, you get like 10% off, which is like the processing fees or whatever.
Hey, it's definitely worth it, especially if you got a party going. And shout out to No Fly Zone too. Thank you for them for putting that on. When I saw that it was Primo Hoagies, it was alcohol, and it was Sheffield Shuffler, and it was like $45, I think it was. Yeah. I was like, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, he got real weird with like the promoting of the alcohol stuff. So I had to be like really careful on what not to say. But I mean, we're getting fucked up. So
I got you. Yeah, I'm bringing my own for legal purposes. I love my Surfside, so I know that if I want something specific, I always bring it. But anyways, what'd you bring for us tonight?
Well, I was listening what the guy before me said. What was his name? Sean?
That's Shard.
Yeah, he was complaining a lot about, the Phillies sitting on this bunch of money and not spending any money. Didn't want to mention Bryce Harper, $325 million, Trey Turner, $300 million, Wheeler, $40 million a year. Sanchez just got an extension. Nola got an extension. Nobody likes to mention that kind of stuff. Nobody likes to mention the luxury tax and how the luxury tax works and everything that gets tacked onto that. And everything spent over $301 million, you're gonna get taxed at 50% plus an additional 60%. So all these contracts that signed over $301 million become extraordinarily expensive. So that was just something, when people complain about the team running it back, they didn't get anybody and they're running it back. And well, the business of baseball, if you're not getting deferred money, if you're not the Dodgers, you have to watch where your projected salary is, because you're going to be taxed at such a high bracket. This is the third year that they've gone over the luxury tax. So they've been spending money. That's why I don't understand people that say like, oh, they didn't do anything, they don't spend money. This is their third year over the luxury tax. So that's my thought on it. Nobody wants to bring up all this other stuff. That's true.
The point about the Yankees as well. I mean, I don't watch a ton of baseball, but I definitely get what you're saying there. I was listening to WIP today, and I know you're a diehard baseball guy. We talked about that when we met. Like, baseball is your sport. You live it, you breathe it, you love it. Trey Turner, I think some of us amateur fans are kind of tired of hearing the same stuff. They were talking about that on WIP today. But a lot of people forget he had 21 home runs last year. It doesn't feel like it at all, though. It's going to be probably a really good year, or, well, I know it's either going to be, there's no in between in Philadelphia. It's either going to go really good or really bad this year for Trey Turner. Which way do you think it's going to go? And is there anything he can do to help himself out?
Yeah, he also had the most extra base hits in his career last year. So when people, that's another thing, when people talk shit about Trey Turner and be like, he didn't have a good year. I saw some, it was either the Fanatic or WIP on their socials, and he was just like, Trey had a terrible year last year. It's terrible. I pulled up all the numbers. I was like, bro, you are clueless, dude. That is not even remotely being true. But we're going to see how well he responds to going back to the leadoff spot, right? Did it in Washington, did a little with the Dodgers. So we're going to see how he does when he bats leadoff and, not chasing, and you have to take more walks. That's why Schwarber is so successful in that one hole, because his ability to take walks. So we'll see. I mean, how it goes. I have no concerns about Trey Turner, man. If you want to know what kind of player Trey Turner is, turn over the back of the baseball card. That tells you everything you got to know. That's the type of player he is. So I'm not worried. It's the type of player who commands a $300 million contract. So I'm not worried about it. I think he's going to have another great year. And hopefully he just gets more stolen bases, going to get on base more sooner. So then when Schwarber gets around, those leadoff homers become 3-run grand slams,
Yeah, I love it. Well said.
I got nothing
Yeah.
else. Sheffield, have you ever gotten told that you look like Kyle Schwarber?
Yes.
Yeah, I told him that actually. When me and Dalt met him, I said, has anyone told you to look like Kyle Schwarber? And then I saw the video recently with you and Enterprise Sports, and you were Kyle Schwarber's brother, like posing as him. So I was cracking up. That was
it's funny because I'm from Chicago, so I've been born and raised like my whole life as a Cubs fan, and Cubs drafted Schwarber. He came up, won a World Series with the Cubs. So I have been a Kyle Schwarber fan before anybody else here was a Kyle Schwarber fan. So I love that compliment, because I've gotten a lot worse in my life. So I'll take Kyle Schwarber. But yeah, he's my dude. I love him. He's my favorite player on the team.
Yeah, hopefully he has a good year. And I mean, back to Trey Turner thing, I think, he gets a lot of crap in general. I think what I heard from 94 this morning, people were saying that they were comparing him. They were like, oh, well, the season he had was kind of like what happened with, like, obviously there's a lot of hype with him from beforehand coming from the Dodgers. And he has the talent, of course. It's like another Namdi Awesome one. But like, I agree with you though. It's not really like that, because I feel like he did have a decent season, not an awful season, not an amazing season, but he had a good season. So, and I think statistically though, like as you said before, like he really did have a decent, he was an all-star. So I mean, like, you can't really complain about that either. So I mean, he was an all-star caliber player, and I think he will have a bounce back season for sure.
Yeah. As long as his defense doesn't struggle, I think that's going to be the biggest thing for me, is just his defense. I'm not worried about his offense. As long as his defensive metrics are improving from last year. He had a lot of errors last year. So that's one side that I'm looking for more improvement. Not necessarily at plate, but on defense.
Yeah. Well, hey, Sheffield, I appreciate you hopping on here with us. This is definitely not going to be the last time we get you on here, and I'm really excited to hang out with you on opening day, man. It should be a lot of fun.
Oh, we're going to have a great time. That I can promise you.
Let's go. Phillies are bringing home the W.
Let's go.
Look, you got Jack thinking about going now. He was just pondering it over there. I could see it on his face.
I'm going. I know I'm going to opening night. I'm going to opening night. I know that, but maybe I might have to join you guys for that tailgate. I might have to.
My Uncle Bob will be there, KJ. So if that sells you any more on it, he will be there hanging out. So that's going to be like Worlds Collide. I convinced him.
That'll be dope.
But hey, Sheffield, thank you again, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, boys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
See you, brother. Good night.
All right.
Yeah.
If you guys don't, please give Sheffield Shuffler a follow. He is awesome. We love his content.
He's a legend, man. He's a
Please
legend.
give Philly Shardy a follow. Please give Gavin a follow. All the call-ins. And, of course, Lince Dorado from the WWE. That was a ton of fun. But Now we are cracking the can open on the meat of the show. It's no more call-ins. It's just the four of us. I mean, me, Josh, Jack, and KJ. Here to give you a Flyers update. He's here to give you a Flyers update. Wow, I've waited a long time to say that.
He shoots, he scores! Time for Slap Shots with Zep. Flyers talk from 302 Birds.
Free falling. What are we doing, Josh? Losing every game but one in March?
So the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and that's good for the city of Philadelphia. Pretty much here right now. I think it's pretty bleak. I think it's going to be a bleak springtime in the city of Philadelphia for some sports because the Flyers and the Sixers are pretty bad. At least the Sixers can tank and we can maybe get the lottery. I don't know. The Flyers have just been in this limbo for forever. I mean, Mitch Koff is a beast. He's the real deal, but I don't know. I thought Carter Hart was the real deal, and that didn't work out. And I thought Nolan Patrick was it. I don't know. I would love to watch a meaningful Flyers game in April, and it hasn't been that way in 5 years. So that's your update. It's sad, At least they're fighting. It's not pathetic like the Sixers. There was some fight there, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Josh and I were actually talking about after the March Madness in April, what are we going to do? Because we're not going to be watching the Flyers in the playoffs. We're not going to be watching the Sixers in the playoffs. So I think Josh and I are going to watch Lord of the Rings saga. So it's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, it's we did not expect.
Come on, what the heck?
I can't watch every baseball game.
We're gonna watch Lord of Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I mean,
my precious.
It's just depressing that, not really, because the Flyers, we didn't expect them to do anything this year. We didn't expect them to do anything last year, and they almost made it to the playoffs. The Sixers have sucked for the past 8 years.
They haven't really sucked for the last 8 years. They just
why does Jack take
all of the years that Joel
whatever
Embiid
take that he makes? Not whatever take, but I feel like whenever we talk on the Flyers, Jack always finds a way to bring the Sixers into it and just drags them into it and just
no, that was Zep. Zep did that. Zep did that. That was not.
No,
he did do it first, but Jack doesn't do it. It cracks me up though because it's a true Philly fan
comparison because the Flyers, I don't Jack just forgets about the last 8 years of the Sixers. He just pretends that doesn't count.
They mean nothing to
the
me.
Flyers weren't good, and then they made the playoffs in the bubble during COVID. Without that little blimp, the Flyers have been ass for 8 years. Legit 8 years. It's not really the same. We suck. I don't know. I like Danny Briere. I hope we can turn this around. I don't know.
We knew the moment we traded Morgan Frost and Farabee that the season was pretty much a wash. That it was over.
We knew the season was a wash.
We knew it was a wash even with them. We knew it was a wash.
And we've known it's going to be a wash for the past couple of years. Like Josh just said, pretty much.
Here's what makes me happy. Here is that Travis Konecny and Sean Couturier are two of the top 7 tenured Philadelphia athletes now that BG retired. And they're both signed long-term deals. So at least the Flyers will have some Philly icons, Philly mentality, going forward for the next few years. There's not going to be a heartbreaking release or anything. So at least Flyers fans will know the faces they're watching. It's not a new team every year, but it's still sad. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's nothing but darkness.
Yeah.
Hello,
you saw the comments.
my old friend.
Should we just get the dark parts out of the show?
You are now listening to KJ's Court Sixers Talk presented by the Sleeper app.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's pretty dark at the Sixers. So I don't know, but yeah. There's a light, precious light. But yes, the good thing is, actually, the bad thing is, here's the good news. All right, Quentin Grimes looks like the guy that. There we go, Jack. There's some darkness for you guys. Quentin Grimes looks like the guy who should be getting the contract that Paul George has. And Paul George is literally send him to the hospital, the Sixers hospital. Get that siren out, Dalt. Get that siren out because guess what? Another freaking Sixers player is down with an injury and for the rest of this season. And probably, you know what? He's going back to what we do, but we're not basketball players, so people can't complain that we're doing this, but podcasting. So, Paul George, have fun doing your podcast and whatever, because you seem like you cared more about that than playing for this city and scamming these fans and scamming this organization. But honestly, though, the man who is scamming this organization in general is Daryl Morey, because he's not asking Allen Iverson for advice, and a guy who played every game like it was his last. No, he's been asking this guy called AI, not a guy, actually a computer system, to make decisions for him. And he is screwing up. So it is just, you know what? I say this to all Sixers fans right now, and I said this recently. I showed this to Dalton. I showed this to Dennis. We need to all unite as one. We need to all go down to actually where our good friend we just talked about WWE wrestler from Camden. We just talked about him, and he probably agrees with this too. We all need to go there. We all need to go to the facility, and we need to get those white signs or whatever, and we need to stand for what we believe in as Sixers fans, and that Daryl Morey needs to get his butt out of there, because the man is a horror story. The man is he's such a joke. He's a clown, and this organization right now is just it's clownish. It sucks. But the only good light out of this, though, is like Quentin Grimes. He scored his highest career game recently against the Houston Rockets. He had 46 points. So he's had, I think, three 30-plus point games this season. I think Paul George only had maybe like one, which is just pathetic. It really is. So I hope we pay Quentin Grimes. That'd be great to have him back. But honestly, though, I mean, like, this is what the Sixers get for doing all these bad decisions. I mean, this is what they get. And then they're having these players that are known as scrubs. They're just going off right now. You got Jeff Dowden doing great for the Sixers. He had some 20-point games. He's averaging 20 points a game. So, I mean, these guys are stepping up in a time where right now, like, a lot of fans are not watching. A lot of fans are really depressed right now because of the state of the team, the state of the organization. And, I mean, we had championship admirations for sure. We thought so with Paul George. And it just, honestly, it's just a podcaster. He's not a basketball player. He's a podcaster. He's a washed-up basketball player who is just as fragile as his buddy right there, Joel Embiid. So,
AJ,
I mean, they are just both fragile.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think was the worst signing? Signing Tobias Harris or Paul George? Because Tobias Harris, if you really think about it, his last year he was here, he didn't really do dick in the playoffs. But the first couple years he was in Philly, he did something. So who do you think the worst signing was for the Sixers this, in the last 5 years?
Tobias.
I think the extension for Tobias was horrible because of the performance that Jimmy Butler was having. And Tobias was not even showing up in that playoff in that playoff series. Jimmy Butler was. So Jimmy Butler made his case for a contract. Jimmy Butler made his case for the chemistry that he had with Joel Embiid. Tobias Harris didn't really have that. But Tobias Harris, though, I mean, you are right. He did have a good points per game in general. I will say that, he was not really injured that much. So I'd probably say the worst signing is Paul George, because if you think about it, Tobias Harris was younger. I mean, he was younger than the contract that Paul George got. I mean, Paul George got signed to this 3-year contract, and he's 34 now. And Tobias was probably around 27 or something when he gave the contract or something like that. So I'd probably say the Paul George contract is probably worse, but they're both really infuriating signings. But I would say the Paul George for sure.
I would say the Tobias, because it ruined our future. I don't think there's any future that Paul George ruined now. But KJ, when can we get excited about tanking? I mean, obviously, do you really think PG would be out if the Sixers were in a playoff spot right now?
No, I mean,
this is the Cooper Flag sweepstakes.
Yeah, I mean, but with Cooper Flag,
if we get Cooper Flag, we're a playoff team again next year. We might be a playoff team again next year, no matter what.
No, as long as we have Joel Embiid, we're not going to be a playoff team.
Really, because Joel Embiid's missed one playoff, and it's this year, his entire career.
Yeah, what has he done his entire career? Even though scoring all those points, but in the playoffs, what has he done? Nothing.
He didn't win an
MVP
MVP.
season, do shit.
He did win
He didn't do
MVP.
shit in the MVP season.
In general, though, I got to
He
be
went through Game
honest.
7.
I got to be honest, though. I feel like a lot of Duke players, except Jason Tatum, and I guess you could count Kyrie Irving, they don't really pan out in the NBA. Grant Hill, too, but that's a while ago. But in general, though, you'd look at it like Christian Laettner didn't pan out. To be honest, I'll tell you this. Zion Williamson is not panning out because of his injuries, unfortunately. I think he would be, but he has horrible history with injuries. So I think with Cooper Flagg, the scare I have is just the Duke curse and everything like that. But then also, I think Cooper Flagg might have a chance to even make even more money if he stays with Duke and does that NIL contract that he apparently might be looming on, that he might be trying to go for. So we're just got to wait and see. But I mean, you got some other prospects too, like Ace Bailey. You also got Ron Harper's kid as well. So there's some good prospects that you could probably get. But we'll just have to wait and see, to be honest, because we don't know what pick we're going to get. Also, even if you tank too, here's a problem too now, Zep. With the way that it is now at the NBA, you can't really tank anymore because, I mean, here's the thing. The Pistons had the worst record 2 years ago. They should have got Victor Wembanyama if it was the old rules, but they didn't because they got the 6th pick instead, or 10th pick or whatever it was, and they didn't get Victor Wembanyama. So the Spurs.
Sam Hinkie died for our sins.
Yeah, so Sam Hinkie did die for our sins. That is true, even though he's still alive and well, from what I've heard. But
I would say JJ Redick pretty much panned out for Duke in the NBA. Like, I think you can count him.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, there were some players that did pan out, but I'm saying like the ones that were really hyped up, like how Cooper Flagg is hyped up like this. That's how hyped up Christian Laettner was. That's how hyped up Zion Williamson was. Like, and Brandon Ingram too. Brandon Ingram as well. People thought he was the next Kevin Durant, but honestly, now he's been a journeyman. He's been on a bunch of teams. I think he's with the Raptors now. So,
well, I think that's because LeBron traded him away.
Yeah, I guess that too. And then you got Jabari Parker. I mean, I could keep on going on, but it just seems like though the dominoes of the certain Duke players, except Jason Tatum, as I said before, it's
time to embrace the tank. Okay,
we'll embrace the tank, just like we're gonna embrace that time of the year, baby. Everybody's favorite time of the year when mofos like me that know nothing about college basketball bust out their one jersey a year, the Michael Jordan jersey, which is like the biggest bandwagon jersey of bandwagon jerseys. But fellas, we're here. We made it. College basketball, all the guts, all the glory. We got a league that you guys can actually buy in. It is Mikey D's March Madness Bracket Challenge. If you guys want to join it, it's absolutely a blast. Mikey D is doing a great job running it, and you can come get in on it. It's a $5 buy-in, winner keeps all. And at the moment, the jackpot is up to $105 at the moment. I just checked. But, gentlemen, how about them Tar Heels? They counted us out, and then last night, 95-68, they didn't just beat them. They belt to ass. My favorite part about the whole thing was Dave Portnoy was talking a ton of shit, and I guess that he needed San Diego State University to make a run or at least cover last night, and they didn't even do it. Everybody thought that they would cover with the way that UNC season went. But UNC, the Tar Heels, heard the outsiders and silenced them. And we are here, March Madness. So who are your guys' predictions? I mean, I'm riding
let me tell you this before. Let me tell you this before. To be honest, though, as a college basketball fan and somebody who, Mikey D as well, who he's told me this too, and he was very livid about this. Don't, sorry to say this, even though you are you're probably one of the most fraudulent UNC fans.
I definitely am. It's my guilty pleasure team, hence why I'm
UNC did not deserve to be in it one freaking bit at all. Boise State should have been in it. Or honestly, West Virginia should have been in it. West Virginia should have been in it so much that their mayor actually is suing the NCAA right now or something like that. He's trying to get them. Well, they can't get in now, but he's fighting for it. But UNC did not deserve to be in it. I feel bad for Boise State. I feel bad for West Virginia and some other teams as well. But this should be a really exciting March Madness. I mean, like, I think one of the games that was playing tonight, like one of the qualifiers, American versus Stout, what is it?
Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah, Mount St. Mary's. So that's who's playing tonight. I think Americans winning, or who won?
Mount St. Mary's won.
Oh, never mind.
Real quick, KJ, before you move on, who's your Final Four, and who do you have winning it all?
Ooh, so for the 302 bracket, I've done a couple brackets, and let me go into
I can read them out. I have it.
oh, you
I
got
just
'em?
wrote it down. So you got
Okay, cool.
Michigan State,
Yep, Michigan State.
St. John's, Bama,
Yep.
and Houston.
Yep.
And then who's in your championship? Do you remember?
I believe I have St. John's winning it.
Yep, and Houston. Yep. So you have
Yep.
St. John's winning it all.
So I think with St. John's, I think it's just, I mean, they haven't been to a tournament game, I believe, since like 2000 or something like that. They haven't done something like this. I mean, they haven't won the Big East since 2000. That's a stat. So I think with St. John's, I think having a legendary coach like Rick Pitino, I think honestly, I think this is their time to honestly, and I feel like the vibe's there. You got Spike Lee coming out of hiding. I didn't even know he was a St. John fan, but he
All
just
New
comes
York.
out of, yeah, he's all New York, but I mean, I had no idea. So I mean, he's their sideline and whatever. I just feel the vibes there with them, and I feel like they're a team that people are kind of doubting on. I mean, I know they're the number one seed, but I mean, as a champion, I think people are doubting them a little bit. They don't think they're ready. I think Rick Pitino's got these kids ready, and he's got these guys ready to go. And I mean, it's time. It's March Madness, and I think they have what it takes.
Yeah. As somebody who went to a school that's in the tournament this year, pretty exciting.
It's funny I have two fans.
Roll Terps. Roll Terps. Dalton, what's North Carolina's head coach's name? Yeah, that's right. Okay, good. I'm happy we did that.
I know his
Honestly,
name.
you're not wrong. Keep going.
Yeah. Why are you a UNC fan? It's crazy.
Michael Jordan. No, I actually have a legit reason.
Yeah.
So the reason that I'm a UNC fan is when we were in 4th grade. This is why they're my guilty pleasure team. I couldn't even name a player on the team when we were in 4th grade. Trust me. But I picked them all. They were a number one seed, like a very good team that year. And I picked them, long story short, to win the whole March Madness bracket. They ended up winning. I won like $400 at the time when I was in 4th grade. You ever win $400 in 4th grade?
That's illegal.
I did actually.
That's illegal, Bolt. You should be arrested for that. 4th
I don't
grade.
care.
2016, I had
Junior had a couple nickels, and he was hyped about it. But that is why, and ever since then, I've stuck with them, and they've done me proud.
Okay, that was a wasted segment. I didn't need to hear any of that.
Yeah.
No,
All right,
Roll
Josh,
Terps.
just tell us, pour out your heart to
I think,
Villanova.
I think Michigan State is a very good team, and I'm biased because I watch a lot of Big Ten basketball because I watch a lot of Maryland. But
You watched a few games this year.
that's
Exposed.
a lie.
True.
That's a
I
lie.
literally
That's a
live with
lie.
you. It's not.
That's I mean
It's
that's
not.
a lie.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Talk.
No, I think Michigan State's really good. I think Duke's good. So go Terps though. I got Terps going in the Sweet 16, maybe the Elite 8.
Who's your fucking champion, dickhead?
Michigan State.
Okay. Thank you. God damn. You're ridiculous.
Roll Terps, baby.
Yeah. So
Public Ivy.
yeah. So my Final Four this year, I got Auburn, I got Maryland, and I got Duke and Tennessee. And I have Auburn versus Duke and Duke winning it. I think Duke is one of those teams without Cooper Flagg. I think you still see a great team. And John Shire is one of the greatest coaches so far. Yeah, it's the truth, Josh. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I think Duke has all the players they need. And I think we'll see them win this March Madness this year.
We'll just have to wait and see, but I think there's going to be some upsets for sure. I think there's going to be some teams. I know that Dolt's been obsessing about the manager, the team manager from McNeese. So he's been.
I didn't even know what team he was the manager for.
McNeese, I believe it's McNeese, but Dolt was like, that guy's my spirit animal. So
that dude is amazing. I am living
guy's
through
getting
that.
NIL deals from Insomnia Cookies and I
Pick.
believe Buffalo Wild Wings, and It's crazy. So
I think one of the upsets coming out of the South is going to be Yale versus Texas A&M. I think Yale is one of the better Ivy League teams that we've seen in a long time. Coming out of the West, I think an upset we have is Drake beating Mizzou. I think Drake is, they're only going to make it to the round of 36, but they've always had a really solid team in previous years. So I'm excited to see what they can do. And then wow.
I think Michigan is beating Auburn, if anybody cares.
Yeah. I mean, I think Auburn, they do have one of the oldest squads in the league. In college basketball, but I just don't think. I think they've had some losses this season that were kind of like.
I don't think Auburn's not playing their best basketball.
Yeah, they're not playing their best right now. So I feel like you're right. I think they might win like their first round, maybe the second round, but I think I don't think they'll win the third. I think they're probably going to go down.
Is High Point on some sort of insane win streak too?
I don't even.
I think I heard that on somewhere on the radio today that High Point is on an insane win streak, which is why Fratty's really buying into High Point upsetting Purdue first round.
Yeah, they could.
I don't think you'll see many upsets coming out of the East. The Midwest, I think you can see potentially McNeese beating Clemson. I don't have them on my bracket as McNeese winning, so we'll see. And then I really think, that's all I got.
I do think. I think tomorrow and Friday are the biggest work days of the year where people still go to the office but do nothing. Like everybody takes off the Monday after the Super Bowl. I don't think it no work gets done once 12, 15.
Lost productivity is at an all-time high.
Yeah, the next 2 days are off
Thursday because there's like literally, I guess it's technically 16 games a day, right? On each day, which is absurd. So get ready. I wish I had some money in my bank account so I could throw down a couple bets Friday. I definitely will be. Join the 302 Birds server if you want to bet with us, talk some smack. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But getting into our Eagles segment, guys, this is where Howie Roseman does his thing. Howie, if you're listening, sign Justin Blackmon. This one is a no-brainer. Low risk, high reward. That's what Howie Roseman loves. And it kind of reminds me of a player we picked up a couple years ago who was also from the Colts. I'm talking about Isaiah Rodgers. Low risk, high reward. But I just think that the Eagles have another chance to get a guy that can come in and immediately contribute. That's what they need. He's a former third-round pick out of Utah. He can play. He can hit. He has 10 picks in his career since 2020. We just let C.J. Gardner-Johnson walk. We missed out on Justin Reed. I think that Blackmon would be the perfect chess piece for right now, ensuring that you guys have a veteran safety going into the season next year. You can draft somebody like Malaki Starks. I know I said we were going to talk about him in the show, but just because we've talked about him a couple of times and for time concerns, we're not going to talk about him tonight. If you guys want to hear more of an in-depth preview, go listen to the Appreciate Your Input podcast. I did a real in-depth preview on him on Sunday. But this is the kind of move that championship teams make. If I was the Eagles, I would go out. Don't overthink it. Get it done. What do you guys think? You guys like this rumor? You not about it? You about it?
I think his first name's Julian for starters.
Whoopsie daisy.
Julian Black. Justin Blackmon.
What did he say his name was? Justin?
Yeah, it's Julian Black. There is a Justin Blackmon who played football, but his NFL career didn't go well.
It's almost like when I was doing, what's his name? Josh Huff and Bryce Huff. But anyway, Thank you, Josh. So Julian Blackmon, are you about it or
people
no?
don't get confused. Yeah. No, I agree with you. Low risk, high reward. You can get him for hella cheap right now. I mean, I think this is the stage of the NFL season where you can sign a whole bunch of guys to cheap contracts, and then worst comes to worst, you cut them. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Howie's a cap wizard. We have some cap space. All the rookies we're going to sign aren't going to cost that much because they're all going to be on rookie deals. So, yeah, I like it, Dalton.
No
What
comment.
do you think, Jack?
No comment.
Jack, would you want Justin or Julian?
I mean, we need some positions to fill in those spots, or some players to fill in those spots, but I don't really know much about him. So I'm not
He's
gonna,
26. He's young. That's good.
I'm not going to say much.
Yeah, he
comments.
is young. He's 26.
Yeah, I don't know
AJ?
too much. I don't know too much about him either, to be honest. I mean, I know that a name of a veteran safety has been named. I don't know if we're going to get him, but I keep on hearing a lot about Justin Simmons once again. So, I mean, that's the rumor I've heard. I haven't heard anything about Julian Blackmon at all. So, this is like my first time hearing about this rumor. But, I mean, I think also they might try and like either draft a safety or they're gonna kind of like keep the players within. I mean, maybe they go Sidney Brown, maybe they go with I got a lot of crap for pronouncing this guy's name wrong. Lewis, it's Lewis Clean apparently, or whatever.
Clean.
Clean or something like that.
Cine. It's like CINE. It's a tough last name.
Yeah, so people are giving me crap for it this morning because I said Klein. So it looked like it said Klein. But I think that guy could maybe step up too because, I mean, like it seems like right now we are building the Georgia Bulldogs defense, which is kind of stacked. So, I mean, that's going to be really interesting because I feel like you come from like a championship pedigree place like Georgia and you have all these players that have this chemistry together. It just seems really smart on Howie's side. So I think like that kind of like I was pissed off really about me and Jack were both really upset about the CJ Gardner-Johnson move. But I think and like we were like, what the heck is Howie doing? But now I kind of see like the move that we got with Azeez Ojulari. And I'm like, you know, that's kind of like an underrated move, kind of like what happened with like Zach Bond. Because like with Zach Bond, people didn't realize like he was going to be like a guy who other teams wanted, but then we signed him to a crazy 3-year deal, which he deserved. I think he definitely deserved with the play that he had this year. Like he just was a stud. So I think like this Azeez Ojulari guy can really like. I know he had 6 sacks. I think he could probably get up to maybe like 10 plus for us. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Boston. I appreciate you. And yeah, KJ, I think you hit the nail on the head. Taking players from the Giants. It's kind of just our thing around here. We're going to get to Azeez in 1 second because I'm really excited to talk about that topic and dive more in depth. But first, we got to pay honor to a legend. Brandon Graham decided to retire. He's done as a Philadelphia Eagle. I mean, I guess it was 16 seasons, I believe, off the top of my head.
15,
if not 15, which is insane to think about, that he only had one franchise that he was able to spend all of his time with. But listening to Brandon Graham's speech, it's funny because they made fun of a lot of guys on WIP, some of the hosts, for crying during certain players' pressers. And at first in the car, you know, you just gut instinct, knee-jerk reaction. You laugh at certain things and you're like, okay. But then I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? If you didn't cry during Jason Kelsey or Brandon Graham's presser and retirement speech, are you really a real fan? Like, it's almost you're weird if you didn't cry, in my opinion, because hearing Brandon Graham talk, not even about football, but just about life. Like the point about the second opportunity, I think, was my favorite thing because he gave advice to people in general, young people. And he said, hey, if you get a second chance in life in anything, take it and run with it. Make the most of that opportunity because you never know where that opportunity is going to take you. It may not be the most shiny, bright opportunity that you wanted. It may not be what you pictured in your head, but go for it and run with it because it's going to take you to another place with another opportunity. And if you keep doing that day by day, like just the advice and the wisdom that he gave in that speech about how it's, you know, it's a war, not a battle. That's my word to say it. But just about, it's the long term. It's about how do you last? It's about putting in the work every day. And he's just so wise. And the one thing that he did say that made me laugh a lot was he said, I am excited to be on the other side of it now that every word that I say won't be interpreted a certain way, We remember, obviously, this year with the A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts thing that he said that caused a lot of drama. But I think it'll be good for Brandon Graham to get on the other side now. He's at a point where he's earned it, and he'll still be around. He'll still be in that facility. But like I said, if you didn't cry or if you didn't get emotional during the BG presser, the Jason Kelce presser, are you really a real fan? I don't know. Jack, Josh, I'll let you guys take it first. How'd you feel?
I mean, it is definitely sad to see somebody who's been on the team for so long, and he's one of 3 or 4 players on the Eagles that can say they are 2-time Super Bowl champions. So that's pretty cool to see. He did mention that, like, you know, after his injury, because he did say this is his last tour beginning of the season, and then he said in his presser that, you know, after his injury, if they didn't win the Super Bowl, if they didn't make it deep, he probably would be back for another year. So it's I'm glad that he ended on top because, you know, he was still a very productive player this season. I mean, being his age and having like 250 games played for the Eagles, I mean, it's just insane to see somebody again. It's funny to me because just like Jason Kelce, people doubted them. You know, when they got drafted, they weren't being productive. And then we see them become an all-class guy, all-class player of the Eagles. It just really, you know, spoke, you know, a lot to me. And it was definitely emotional. I think I was more emotional about Jason Kelce than Brandon Graham because I can relate kind of. And he is one of my favorite players of all time. So, yeah, I mean, it's just great. And he said that he's going to be or that he wants to be a coach of some sort for the Eagles. So we'll see what happens, but I'm glad he ended on top and wasn't stupid about going back another year and potentially, you know, having a career-ending injury or an injury that can affect him, you know, deep down. But it's going to be different not seeing somebody on the field trash talk the Cowboys as much as he did.
Yeah. I didn't know this. I think he only made 1 Pro Bowl, and he was never an All-Pro. Like, Jason Kelce was a 6-time All-Pro. I think Fletcher Cox was like a 3-time All-Pro. Lane Johnson's been All-Pro Bowl a bunch of times. BG, like, you think about him with those guys. He was never an All-Pro. He only had 1 Pro Bowl. And I think it just goes to show you, like, even if you're not crazy athletic, you don't put up crazy stats, like, doing the little things right can get you anywhere in life. Like BG did the little things the right way. He never had eye-popping stats, but he always like made the plays when you need him to. Obviously the Super Bowl. And I saw a lot of Philly writers online, not so much like WIP guys, but like just a lot of like beat writers I follow. And all of them were in consensus that BG was their favorite athlete to interview the last like 7 to 10 years, and that they will greatly miss him. So it's definitely the end of an era. I'm happy that Lane Johnson signed an extension. I don't know if you guys saw Lane Johnson had like a funny tweet. It was like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air tweet where he was the last one in the house, and he added Fletcher Cox, Kelce, and BG. It was like, don't worry, boys, I got us. So end of an era. BG, he's a beast, but I'm happy he went out on top. And yeah, Jack said it right. I'm happy that he chose now to go and call it quits at the height of the game.
Yeah, I mean, what a legend for sure. I mean, I remember when we drafted him in 2010, a lot of people, I mean, I think like years later, people, especially when like the Legion of Boom was going on with the Seahawks, people were like, oh my gosh, like we picked Brandon Graham in front of instead of getting Earl Thomas. But I think you look back at it now, I mean, Earl Thomas isn't playing right now. I mean, he didn't play last year or the year before. I don't think he did. But he wasn't playing to an elite level. I mean, he wasn't making those crazy plays that like BG was making. So I think, and they're different players, different kind of caliber kind of players for sure. But I think just the way that like, even though like he was an amazing player and he was an Eagles legend for sure, he definitely is. He goes down in Eagles history as one of the best defensive players. But I think also as like a man, he was just like, he was such a great guy. And he just like, he really fed off like the energy of the city. And he really like showed what it really meant to like be a Philadelphia Eagle. And like, it was an honor to have a guy like him like represent this team. Like he represented everything it meant to be an Eagle. So it does make me kind of like a little emotional talking about it. Cause like, I mean, just to see his growth, I remember like me like going down to like one of my dad's friend's place, and he was a huge Eagles fan. And I remember I got like the team pack of like the Eagles players, and I got Brandon Graham, and it was like his rookie card. And he was like, I didn't even know how you got that and everything like that. He's like, he's gonna be a great player. He's like, I'm excited for him. And I was like, I think he'll be good too. So I mean, like I was young back then, so I was around 10. But to think back then, and then fast forward to now, like if you told me back then that he was going to have 2 Super Bowls under his belt, like the Eagles would win 2 Super Bowls, and he would be the guy to help us get to that point. I mean, the guy to do a strip sack on Tom Brady, the GOAT himself. I mean, it's been an awesome career for him. And I mean, like, obviously, I mean, we heard the news too that like he obviously got injured this year with the tricep, and then he came back to play in the Super Bowl, and he actually ripped his tricep again, the same one, and he played through it. He played through it, and that just showed that he loved this freaking city, he loved this organization, and he appreciates his time here for sure. He appreciates Andy Reid. He appreciates Doug Peterson. He appreciates Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and he appreciates Nick Sirianni as well, and Big Dom. Big Dom. You can't leave out Big Dom too. So I think the guy is just a class act, and he meant what everything it meant to represent an Eagle. And I mean, like he represented everything it meant to be a Philadelphia Eagle. And I'm super proud to call him one of my favorite players of all time. So BG, thank you for your time and enjoy retirement.
I will say, I don't think he mentioned Nick Sirianni at all in the presser, which is crazy.
That's true. Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, he did not mention him.
I don't think it was a shot at him, though. I don't think it was a shot at him. I really don't.
I mean, Vic, he works with Vic and the defensive coordinators. The Eagles have always been a system team. And that's the one thing that he said in his speech, too, that he's excited about not playing anymore, is that it's not going to be, you can't overanalyze what he says. You know what I mean? Like that right there. Not saying that you're doing it. I'm just saying, like, that's like an example of like what
you're the king of
like on a daily basis, where he didn't name Nick Sirianni. And now people are going to be like, oh, shit, you and Nick Sirianni have a beef. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it's a beef at all. I mean, to say what.
No, I don't think so. It's just interesting though, like Jack pointed out. But moving on, before we get into our last topic, we got some trivia tonight, Jack.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dalton, the mayor of Delaware.
Thank you to TickPick for that sponsorship. Tonight's leaderboard we got is the fans with 1 and Dalton surprisingly with 1. Again, Ashley hasn't answered any of the questions yet. So Dalton, good luck staying in front. We'll see if that lasts. But tonight's question we have for you is, who was the first NFL player to declare, I'm going Disney World, in a TV commercial after winning the Super Bowl? Again, who was the first NFL player to declare I'm going to Disney World in a TV commercial after winning the Super Bowl? A, Tom Brady. B, Phil Simms. C, Joe Montana. Or D, John Elway. Put your answers in, and we will give you the answer at the end of the show.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate you on that. But yeah, getting into our last topic, which is we got a new edge rusher. Like I said, bittersweet show. BG retires, but Howie Roseman always has a plan. He's bringing in Azeez Ojulari. I believe that's the correct pronunciation right there. I think I nailed it right there, actually. But Mac, how are you feeling? I mean, we just continue to take players from Mikey D's beloved Giants.
Yeah, and well, we don't know if it's his team or not, but Matt Bears as well.
Yeah, we don't know what team.
We don't know. I mean, one week it's the Jets, 1 week it's the Giants, 1 week it's the Eagles. So you never know. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the Giants are just kind of just giving us players, and they're like, "Yep, we're not going to sign them. We're not going to. We don't believe in them." So you know what? It gives the Eagles a great opportunity, and Howie's just able to. I think it's the New York Jets fandom in him. He feels like, you know what, though, the Giants always thought they were better than the Jets, which they were. But I think he's like, you know what, I'm just going to swoop in and go get some of those players and make them even better. So I think Azeez is going to be insane here. I think he's like a guy that's kind of like Zach Bond, a guy who really wasn't really thought about too much, a guy who's kind of underrated. And I feel like in an old school system like Vic Fangio has, I think he's going to do great. And I think also with his Georgia teammates, I think he's going to do insane. I mean, you have all these Georgia Bulldog boys, and it's just, I think it's overwhelming for sure for other teams too. I mean, because like Georgia's such a great program. And I mean, with those 2 championships, like all these players were part of that. I think it's at least 8 or 7 players that were on those championship teams, and Azeez was one of them. So I think he's going to be a really good developing player for us, and I think he will honestly surprise a lot of people. And I think Giants fans will just that they're going to have a bounty on Howie Roseman for sure, unfortunately. So I mean, they probably hate the guy. Like, I don't know what would happen if Howie Roseman somehow is like in Giants territory of somewhat. I don't know what Giants fans would do to him, but he better protect himself. So, but that's what I think. I think it's a really good move, though. I think it's an underrated move, and it makes me kind of have more hope in this upcoming season for sure. With all the players that we've lost, because I think like a lot of people were like, wow. I mean, like we lost a lot of defensive players, a lot of players are not returning. I mean, like we lost a lot of key pieces. So I think that's where like people were like, oh, are they going to go for another Super Bowl run? I think they can. I think they definitely can repeat if they really want to. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I really think that they got a steal. When the Giants drafted him in the second round, there was already the rumor that he was a steal because he was expected to be a first round pick. And his first year in 17 games, he had 8 sacks as a rookie, which was really good. But ever since then, he hasn't kind of been the same player just due to health. I think he's going to have a good run, though. Moose, appreciate you for joining, man. But I do think that Azeez Ojulari, now that he's came to the Eagles, I think he's going to find his stride. They said the same thing about Saquon Barkley. They said, oh, Saquon Barkley's a great player, but he can't stay healthy. My guy, he played in the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles. And besides the Super Bowl, he carried us in pretty much every single other game throughout the year or played a massive impact. He looked pretty damn healthy to me. So I think that the Eagles just know how to manage their players. They know how to treat their players. I heard some Phillies players talk about it. I believe it was Real Muto in his interview saying that the Phillies as an organization and as a franchise just understand how to treat their players, how to take care of them. I think that the Eagles do as well. And I think that that's noticed. So I think you're going to start to see a trend of Philadelphia, even though it may not be the most popular place to go to as a visiting fan, it may be a popular place to go to as a free agent because of all the perks. And the food's off the chart as well. So Azeez Ojulari, welcome to Philadelphia. We're excited to have you. I think you're going to have a great career here.
My only take is it can't be worse. Like, it can't end up worse than the Bryce Huff signing. So,
yeah,
right.
That's true.
I mean, so
yeah,
that's truth.
That's it. I don't know. I think Fangio's gonna find him, but no, I'm just saying, like, if we look back and it doesn't work, then like, all right, it can't be worse than Bryce Huff. He had like 2 tackles all season.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
The paperweight pass rusher. All right, Jackson.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dordan, the mayor of Delaware.
Lock your answer.
You know my answer, too.
All right. Again, scoreboard. We got fans with 1. We got Dalton with 1. Everyone else with the big old goose egg. So thank you to Tick Pick for that sponsorship. Like I said, it is soon to be Philly season. If you want to buy tickets for $2, you can buy it for the Sixers. Buy it on Tick Pick. Yeah. So tonight's question is: who was the first NFL player to declare, "I'm going to Disney World," in a TV commercial after winning the Super Bowl? Again, who was the first NFL player to declare, "I'm going to Disney World," in the TV commercial after winning the Super Bowl? A, Tom Brady. B, Phil Simms. C, Joe Montana. Or D, John Elway. I'll go with KJ first. KJ said to me, he said B, Phil Simms. And that is correct.
Oh.
Dalton also texted me. Phil Simms. That is correct. I don't see anyone in the chat. Yeah,
The
Joe
chat
Montana.
said Joe Montana.
Yeah, wrong.
Yeah, that was Moose. The Moose.
And then Josh said, who'd you say, Joe Montana or John Elway? He said John Elway, and that is incorrect.
That's stupid. It's fucking wrong.
So,
well, if you think about it, Montana probably said Disneyland because he's over in San Francisco, so he probably said Disneyland. Most likely.
Neither have I.
Never been.
Neither have I.
No, I haven't either.
Bring up the score.
I'm in the Disney World, not Disneyland. They're different places.
So Dalton is out with a big old 2 right now, leading this season 8 scoreboard right now. And then we got KJ with 1, Josh with a big goose egg, and the fans with a big old 1 right now. So that is your scoreboard for season 8. Dalton, KJ, Josh, got anything else to say before we end the show?
Yeah, go Terps. Go Terps.
Okay.
Hey, Zach, guess what?
What?
It's an outro, not an intro.
Oh my gosh. The one thing I want to say before I kick it to Jack,
Zach, you take it away. I'm
if
joking.
you guys haven't, join our March Madness bracket, $5 buy-in, jackpots up to $105. Every person that joins it, it goes up $5. So keep joining it. It should be a lot of fun. And all right.
Make sure you lock your bracket in before noon tomorrow.
It's new 12:15, I think.
Okay, so 12:15. If you guys want to join the fans listening and watching the show right now, make sure you fill out your bracket by March 20th, 2025 at 12:15. If you don't, then you're not going to be part of the pool. So, without further ado,
Go Terps, baby.
Hey, Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro.